Big stories of the day. Hashtag the morning brief.
So the recent incident in Komani in the Eastern Cape, which saw a 12-year-old girl give birth to a baby on New Year's Day, has naturally triggered widespread shock and concern about the phenomenon of underage children engaging in sexual activity. Complicating this matter further has been the Provincial Department of Social Development revealing that the newborn's alleged father is a 17-year-old boy that the department wants to see prosecuted for statutory rape. In the ensuing debate, some parents have spoken critically of rights that they say children have been afforded, suggesting that these may be contributing to the malaise in the country. Let's speak to Staley Malematja, who is an attorney at the Centre for Child Law at the University of Pretoria. We thought we'd bring you in, Stanley. Good morning and thank you for your time this morning. We thought we'd bring you in following this debate that happened yesterday. Among the contentions was about the fact, the argument that says children as young as 12 are allowed to get an abortion, and sometimes without the consent, the agreement of their parents and guardians. And some of the parents have been arguing that that's partly why we are seeing this malaise. What is the actual position in as far as the law is concerned? Can children as young as 12 have an abortion? And if so, under what circumstances?
Good morning, Thulasizwe, and good morning to your listeners. And thank you for having me. I think, the correct start maybe would be to, if we look at the Children's Act and the Termination of Pregnancy Act, we will appreciate that the objectives of this two pieces of legislation includes, enabling children who are victims of sexual violence to protect themselves and also to ensure that the risks of unwanted pregnancies and HIV to the inclusion of other STIs are actually addressed. So therefore, these two pieces of legislations create some form of preventative approach. And yes, indeed, if we look at these two pieces of legislation and their preventative approach, children can and are, permitted under this pieces of legislation, and particularly the Termination of Pregnancy Act, they are allowed, to get to undergo an abortion without the consent of their parents or guardians or caregiver, provided that a proper medical examination has been done, provided that, a medical practitioner has explained the risks and benefits of such an abortion, and provided that the abortion is done at the correct stage and in accordance with those two pieces of legislation.
So what is the purpose of that, those provisions that allow for that? What is it aimed at achieving?
So basically what it is aimed at achieving, Thulasizwe, is that one is to avoid unwanted pregnancies. There have been stories, in the country where children are actually impregnated by those who are supposed to be protecting them. And this includes, step fathers. This would include parents. This would include, uncles. This would include also close neighbors or even family friends. And to a certain extent, what has been the issue is that we have seen also where maybe, let's say, an uncle or a stepfather is a breadwinner, the sole provider of that family, where they take advantage of, the vulnerability of the children and, engage in sexual intercourse with these children, whether these children can consent or not, therefore leading to statutory rape. In fact, there is, can't recall the name of the case. In fact, there is a Supreme Court of Appeal judgment that overturned a High Court judgment where the High Court had entirely, basically dismissed, the prosecution of a father who had engaged in, a stepfather rather, who had engaged in sexual intercourse with his stepdaughter because the stepdaughter was found at the boyfriend's house and did not want the mother to know, and therefore the father took advantage of that. So actually, the Supreme Court of Appeal rather looked at the scourge of rape and how such rapes happen within close proximities and how they are perpetrated by people who are supposed to protect the children. So it looked at that and actually overturned the High Court judgment and found, rather sentenced the perpetrator to direct imprisonment as opposed to the High Court that had wholly suspended the sentence.
All right. Thank you for that. That's Staley Malematja, who is an attorney at the Center for Child Law at the University of Pretoria. There you have it. We thought we'd just get the facts and separate fact from myth in as far as what the actual position is around children being able to access such services as access to an abortion within our laws.